Director Steven Soderbergh and screenwriter David Koepp, they last collaborated on Kimi, and now they return with a haunted house movie, I guess. Presence.
This is such a cool idea. And I love that after all this time, after all these decades of making movies, that Steven Soderbergh still wants to go on these little experimental larks. You know, he's still playing with technology. He's still kind of pushing it, playing with the form. And so, you know, once again, he is, you know, the cinematographer. He is the editor. He is our eyes and ears of this movie. And I love that after all this time, he still kind of wants to do something fun and playful like this. So. Yeah. Come subscribe, come hang out with us, because although it's January and a lot of folks are catching up with Oscar nominees, we're here for you for all the January stuff. And this is a surprisingly good January movie.
Yeah.
January is not usually known for offering us good stuff, but here we are.
You wonder where they are. And you wonder what it would be like if you were there too.
A family is moving into a house. It looks like a colonial in a beautiful leafy suburb, father, mother, sister, brother. And we first see this house from kind of a first-person perspective. The whole thing is a first-person perspective. And at first, I was a little worried about this because I'm like, oh, no, is this going to be like Nickel Boys? Because if you guys saw our Nickel Boys review, you saw that I had a really hard time with the first-person POV of it because it was really swoopy. And I thought, oh, God, am I going to get a headache from this? But the camera work is so elegant and spare and immersive and very smooth. And so it's not like headache-inducing. It's very, very immersive. So you see the house through the perspective of, we don't know at first whose eyes and ears we have here. But the family comes, they look at the house and they move in and you see how they transform it. But pretty soon, the people who live there, especially the daughter played by Callina Liang, who is excellent.
Yeah.
She's so good. I want to get to that. They begin to feel that someone else is there. There's a presence there. And it's how this presence kind of eavesdrops on all of them. And I love the way this is structured because whoever it is, doesn't know everything all the time. They're not omniscient. They know what they know. They know what they can see and hear, and that's what they can show us. And so we are piecing together what's happening with this family and this house from conversations.
Yeah.
And so we know things about them that they don't know about each other. And there's a lot of suspense that happens in that. And so what Soderbergh shows us and also what he withholds is really clever in terms of creating suspense, in terms of character development. Everyone's great in this. Chris Sullivan as the dad is this source of warmth in a movie that really needs it when a lot of people are kind of sniping at each other and untrustworthy of each other. But yeah, Callina Liang in particular is excellent because she's really the one that we connect with the most through this presence and this experience.
Yeah, I think, you know, screenwriters should look at this movie because so often we get films where characters tell each other things they both know for the audience's benefit, you know, that kind of clunky exposition. And here it is all, it's not only is it a POV in terms of we see what the presence sees, but we learn what the presence learns, and the presence learns it from snatches of conversations, from things that are said and unsaid, from the way that people act when they're alone versus how they are with other people. And so, yeah, if you're paying attention, you get a full portrait of this family and the fissures that exist within them. You know, you can tell that the mom, played by Lucy Liu, like, the son is her favorite, you know, like he's the jock and he's the golden boy, and the daughter, well, you know, I love her too, but she's more trouble. You know that Lucy Liu is up to some kind of work shenanigans that are like not completely above board. So yeah, I love the way that all of that is kind of put together and laid out for us to sort of figure out and determine, and to try and sort of unlock the mystery of like, well, who's this presence? Why is it here? What's it going to accomplish? And how is it going to, if at all, make itself known to the people who live there? And you know, again, this is 95 minutes in and out, you know, like really sharply done. And because of the structure of the film, all the scenes are uninterrupted scenes.
Yes.
So, you know, these actors had to do all these scenes from start to finish with the one camera looking at everything. And there really aren't any close-ups because the presence is always sort of looking at them at some level of distance. So they're not getting to rely on a lot of the things that film acting gives you. Like, they're really kind of having to do this as a theater piece practically, but it never feels that way because the way the camera moves around and the fact that we know we're privileged to get this POV from the presence in the house. So yeah, I thought it was very effective.
Yeah, but it's not an experiment like Here at all. It's like quite the opposite, actually. So it's playing with the idea of being stuck inside this house.
Yeah.
But because it can move with the people, it provides us a sense of movement and of development and of plot, and it doesn't feel like a gimmick. It feels like a really cool device.
The movie doesn't have to stop and take place in front of the fixed camera in the way it does in Here, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting how, we don't really know definitively who this presence is. And I think that's a really smart call because it allows us to kind of wonder, and that kind of sucks us in too. But also just the fact that sometimes it interferes and sometimes it doesn't. And so you think you know what's going to happen in a certain moment, and maybe it doesn't happen that way. And there's a great deal of suspense and danger in that as well, as far as like what the presence chooses to do to alter the outcome of these characters' futures. So I thought that was really, really great too.
Yeah, this is a movie that premiered at Sundance 2024. And I don't know why Neon sat on it for this long, but I'm glad that it's finally here. And given that January is often the dumping ground for middling horror films, I'm glad that we're actually getting a good one.
Yes. And if you are hearing things that go bump the night, you can't sleep, you want to stay up a little bit, maybe you might enjoy some coffee from our friends at Coffee Bros. You get 15% off of everything at Coffee Bros with our code breakfast15. They're always getting great new things in. They are sadly sold out of the holiday blend, which is one of my favorites. That went really, really fast this year, but they have a cool new blend from India that looks really interesting. So the link is down below. We love our friends at Coffee Bros. You're staying up late. Now's the time.
And if you want, you can mix it with spirits.
You could. Ooh. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I love when Soderbergh does a movie like Bubble or like The Girlfriend Experience. You know, it'd be so easy after all this time to
High Flying Bird.
High Flying Bird, I love. I wish more people had seen that. Yeah. And like the kind of movies where, you know, it's so clearly him and his voice, but he does it across so many different genres.
Yeah.
There's always like a flexing a muscle. It feels like fresh and new. It'd be so easy for him to just like go do Ocean's 14. Did you hear that like David Leitch might be doing Ocean's 14? Like,
yes.
There could be more Ocean's movies.
I mean, you know, sure, whatever. No one has any ideas anymore. But yeah, I like the fact that Soderbergh could do that movie if he felt like it, but he could also do these very kind of pared down, you know, handful of characters. That one where he follows like where Meryl Streep takes the Queen Mary, like that was really cool, you know.
That was fun.
He's always willing, like as you said, it's very playful, his willingness to kind of to experiment with different forms and technologies, and you know, I think it when it works, the payoff can be really great, and this is one of those cases.
Okay, what's your number?
I'll say 8.5.
I like that. Yeah, I'll say like 8.8. This is really, really good. So Presence is in theaters now.
Yes.
Go check it out.